Hello, my dear children, come closer, come and sit with me under the shade of this great Iroko tree. This tree has stood tall for many years, its roots deep in the soil, its branches reaching towards the sky. It has seen the rise and fall of many stories, and today, I will share one of those stories with you. A story about how our land, Africa, was once divided by strangers, a time when our people faced great challenges. But it is also a story about courage, about resilience, and about the spirit that will never break. Long, long ago, before the world changed, Africa was a place of great strength. Our lands were full of life, green forests, wide rivers, and high mountains. The earth gave us everything we needed, and our people lived in peace, in harmony with nature. The elders, with their wise words, guided us, and the young ones grew up learning the ways of the land. In the north of our land, the Hausa Fulani people lived in great cities like Kano and Sokoto. These cities were busy with trade, and the markets were filled with beautiful fabrics, salt, and spices. The people of Sokoto were proud of their great caliphate, a powerful empire with deep roots in faith and learning. The people of Kano had strong walls around their city, and their traders were known far and wide for bringing valuable goods from across the desert. To the west, the Yoruba people had built mighty kingdoms like Oyo and Ife. These were places of art and culture, where the kings, the Obas, ruled wisely, making decisions for their people. Ife was the cradle of the Yoruba people, the place where their gods and ancestors walked among them. The art from these kingdoms, the wooden masks, the carvings, and the bronze statues, were filled with meaning and beauty. In the east, the Igbo people lived in villages, each with its own unique traditions. The Igbo people didn't have kings like the other kingdoms, but instead, they had elders who made decisions for the good of everyone. They lived in harmony with the land, farming the rich soil and trading among themselves. The Igbo were known for their respect for each other, for the land, and for their customs. And then, there was the kingdom of Benin, far to the south, where the great walls of the city rose like a challenge to the world. The Benin people were known for their beautiful bronze sculptures, their art was second to none. The Oba of Benin ruled his people with pride, and the kingdom was filled with rich traditions and stories. They had powerful warriors, wise rulers, and strong communities. Africa, my dear, was not a land that needed outsiders. We had our own ways, our own paths, and we lived as one with the earth. But there were others, people from across the seas, from Europe, who didn't see Africa the way we did. They saw a land rich in gold, in ivory, in rubber, and they wanted it. They came to Africa, not to trade as friends, but to take what was ours. In the year 1884, far from our land, in a place called Berlin, a great meeting was held. The men who gathered there were not our people, they were strangers, and they had no right to speak for us. But they sat together in a room, drawing lines on a map. They divided up our land as though it were theirs to take. They didn't ask the people who lived here, didn't ask the kings or the elders, or the farmers who worked the land. No, they just took out their pens, drew their lines, and said, "This is where we will rule." The British took Nigeria, the French took much of West Africa, and the Germans took part of East Africa. They did this without asking a single African. They didn't care about the families and communities that had lived in those places for centuries. They just wanted to control the land and its people. Soon after, they came with their soldiers and their guns. The people who lived here, our people, saw them for what they were. They came with gifts at first, pretending to be friendly. But soon enough, they began to take control. They built roads and railways, not for the good of the people, but to carry away the gold and rubber and ivory. They took what they wanted, and they didn't care who they hurt in the process. But my dear, do you think that we, the children of Africa, would sit idly by and let our land be stolen? No. The people fought back. The brave warriors of Benin fought to protect their city, but the British came with their guns, and the kingdom of Benin fell. They took the great treasures, the bronze sculptures, the art, the history, and they carried them away to their land. And it was not just Benin. Across the land, in every corner of Africa, our people fought. But the Europeans had powerful weapons, and they could bring armies from across the seas. Yet, even in defeat, we did not lose our spirit. We resisted in every way we could, through words, through protest, through unity. Even when the Europeans thought they had crushed us, they could never break our hearts. In Nigeria, heroes like Nnamdi Azikiwe and Obafemi Awolowo rose to speak against the injustice. They spoke for the unity of the people, for independence, for a future where Africans could decide their own fate. And the women, oh the women, led protests, like Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, who showed that the spirit of Africa was unstoppable. And so, after many years of struggle, in 1960, Nigeria, our land, finally gained independence. The British left, and the flag of Nigeria, green and white, was raised high. The people, from all tribes, from all walks of life, celebrated. It was a new day, a new beginning. But my dear, even as we celebrated, we knew that the struggle wasn't over. The scars of the past still remained. But we must not forget, my child, that the strength of Africa is in our people. The strength is in you and me, in the stories we carry, in the wisdom passed down from the elders. Our land may have been divided once, but we are one people, one spirit, and together we can heal. Thank you for sitting with me, listening to this story of our history. If this story touched your heart, if it made you think about the struggles of the past, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about our history, our strength, and our future. If you enjoyed the tale, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have many more stories to share, stories that will connect us to our roots and help us grow. Until next time, my dear, may the spirit of our ancestors always guide us.